Hi, I'm Russ Hissam from utilityeducation.com, and I'd like to welcome you to this course on Beyond the Three-Point Advanced Cost Allocation Strategies. Sounds like a tall order, but there are a lot of cost allocation strategies that you can use in your multi-service utility in the area of allocating operating expenses, capital expenditures, things of that nature that will directly impact your customer rates. I bring that knowledge with practical applications that you can use and apply in your business right now. So what are we going to cover in this course? Well, we'll talk about some of the allocation techniques that you can use beyond what we call the three-point or Massachusetts formula, which you may or may not be familiar with, but we'll also cover that one as well and show you how these allocation methods are the best practices in the business. We'll also talk about systematic approaches to selecting the right allocation method for your organization. We'll apply these concepts through some real-world applications and case studies from small municipal utilities to large electric co-ops. We'll talk about regulatory compliance when it comes to allocating costs and what FERC thinks about it, what the RUS, Rural Utilities Service, thinks about it, and state commission requirements for cost allocation documentation. We'll talk about strategies you can use for gaining departmental head buy-in, which is one of the issues that you need to address when it comes to cost allocations and how those individuals manage their budgets when the costs are allocated to their particular departments. And as I said, we'll give you practical tools that you can apply right now and use immediately in your organization. I'm really passionate about the electric business, the utility business, and then my goal is to share these issues with you and give you best practices, practical advice, and pass along what I've seen used in the business. And our whole idea is for you to have your job made a bit easier by application of some of these tools. So this 1-hour CPE course provides you with advanced knowledge of cost allocation methodologies. And once you're done with this class, you'll be able to compare and contrast allocation methods, which ones you should use, and evaluate and select the right method. Apply cost allocation drivers to common utility and co-op service functions using what we call cost causation principles. In other words, if you cause a cost, you pay for the cost, but in some cases you can't determine who should pay for the cost, then we use cost allocation methods. We'll also help you develop proper documentation of the methods that you use that are defensible in rate cases, and then also how to use these applications in implementing organizational change. So again, if you're moving from not using cost allocations or some of these, how can you implement them in the organization and get buy-in from the individuals in the various operational departments? So not all cost allocations are created equal, and there's a hierarchy of cost allocations, and understanding this will help you make better decisions about which approach to use as you allocate cost pools, which are assemblies of costs, rather, that you allocate out to the various departments. And so the first cost assignment principle is direct assignment. So again, you cause it, you pay for it. Then there's also a driver-based approach where you allocate using measurable activity drivers that reflect consumption. For example, payroll costs. You allocate payroll costs based on what department individuals are located in. That would be a driver-based cost approach. Then there's formula-based, which use industry standard formulas like the three-point, the two-factor, and there's variations of that. And we'll talk about those and how those are applied and calculated as well. And then there's arbitrary, which is random or unsupported allocations. If you're an electric, water, and wastewater utility and you allocate your costs 50, 25, 25 to electric, water, and wastewater, that's arbitrary. It's not based on math. It's hard to defend that based on some of the allocation principles that are out there and best practices that you can apply. So we'll cover all of that, how to calculate it, how to decide which one is right for your organization. So with that, we've covered the foundation of cost allocation principles, the hierarchy, core principles, and the 5 learning objectives that we'll cover in this class. I'm excited about this. This is a pretty cool topic. It's a lot of fun, and you'll get some ideas on how it might work in your organization. So if you're ready, I am. Let's get started.